Welcome to Go and Glow, an inspiring show for the beautiful and brave with Natasha Cole.
Hi guys, welcome to the Go and Glow Project. I'm your host, Natasha Cole. Thank you so much for downloading and listening to this podcast episode. As you know, the Go and Glow Project is a platform for inspiration, and it's an epicenter and resource to discover your passions and your purpose, and to live out loud and to shine your light, and to just go and do amazing things and have amazing experiences. So on the show, we love to highlight and bring people on who are blazing trails and just going and glowing in the world. Today, we have a very special guest who is a WordPress web designer. She's a creative entrepreneur and a web strategist. I'd like to welcome to the show Siedah Mitchum of Siedah Mitchum Designs. Hi, Siedah. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Natasha. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. Okay, so I have had several guests on the show, and I've engaged in their social media platforms, and I've met some really cool people. And so I just want to tell people that I found you through social media, and I just love your platform, and I love how you're using your art to elevate the world, and you know, you're really doing some amazing things, and I really enjoyed your story. And so if you could just tell people a little bit about yourself and, you know, what kind of value you're giving to the world and your journey.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you. First, to start with my journey, I'm a web designer. I've been designing since I was in ninth grade. I was about 13 years old. That's actually when also I received my first client. I've been designing for so many years part-time, either if I was working full-time, and at one point I was also going to school full-time, still taking on some clients. And it was not till about a few years ago when I transitioned from Albany, New York, when I met my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, and I moved to Rochester, which is only 4 hours away from Albany, New York. I started having all these little part-time jobs. I was still working in nonprofits for some small businesses, but hours started getting cut back and having some layoffs and things like that. So everything was so inconsistent in the market. So one time I set my husband down one night. Well, he was my boyfriend at the time. Set him down and said, you know what, I really want to do this for myself. I've been designing since I was 13. I know I can do it. I know I can bring this money in. Just as much money as I'm making on these part-time jobs, and even more some months. So I have to prove this to myself. I can do it. And he said, okay, well, call your boss, put your 2 weeks notice in, and let's just do it. So that's exactly what I did 17 months ago, and I've kind of been working for myself. I have been working for myself ever since. And I actually never want to go back. Never want to go back to a nonprofit. Never want to work for someone else. I love working for myself, the freedom and flexibility, and being able to shine. I felt like when I was working for someone else, I wasn't able to really shine and put all in and utilize all my skills, where now I do that.
Cool. So what was that like when you made that phone call to your boss?
It was actually more simple than I thought it was, because once I had my husband's support, it was just like, okay, I'm going to do this. I called him and I just said, you know what, and it was actually so funny because he just called me and said, like, oh, we have to put your hours down a little bit more because of how the business is going slow. And I said, okay. And then I hung up and I was just furious. I was just like, you know what, like, I want to do this. So my husband said, okay. We'll try it out. Let's see how it goes. So calling him, I felt empowered and happy at that moment, because I was just like, you know what? My husband has my back. We're going to figure this out. Okay, I'm putting my 2 weeks notice in. Love you guys, but it's just not going to work for me. So it was a great feeling to do that.
Awesome. And then, so why do you think it was so important for you to follow your dreams? Because I think we all have that story where we want to call our boss and just quit or walk. And we have this grand vision of walking in our jobs and, just telling everyone to go to hell. So, why was it for you so important to follow through with that and to really just go after your dreams?
When I think the biggest thing, what I was feeling in that moment was, I understand the market wasn't that great. I understand that I'm in a new city, and, I don't have as many connections here. But at that moment when I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, it just makes so much sense that I can be doing this for myself. I've been doing it for so many years. I'm confident that I can bring in the money. I'm confident I can bring in the clients. And then it will feel much better for myself and more empowered where I feel like I'm using my skills. I wasn't feeling like I was being appreciated with everything that I have to bring to the table for so many years. So I want to utilize it and help people. And so at that moment, I think when you are making that big decision, because it's huge, and it doesn't like, okay, if I quit my job, then all of a sudden I'm making six figures. That is unrealistic. And if you're thinking that way, I'm just here to let you know that it just doesn't happen that way. You do not do it overnight. So it's not about like quitting your job to make more money. That's not what it is. It's about you quitting your job so that you can do what you're born to do, what you're good at, what you love to do, and you're doing it and you're helping other people. You're happy within yourself, you're happy within what you're doing, and you're going to deliver value so other people are also appreciative and happy in what they're doing. So it was just about the fact of me. I was like, you know what, I'm not happy. I don't feel appreciated. And that one moment, I felt so empowered to say, I'm giving you my 2 weeks notice. I'm done. Like, applause was in my head, you know what I mean, as I was doing, like, go girl, do it. So I was doing it all for the right reasons,
Mm-hmm. And, I was going to say, I think, so you said that you've been designing since you were 13 years old. Mm-hmm. I think that also gave you confidence that you pretty much had that skill in practice already. So what would you say to the person who kind of wants to quit, but they don't exactly have a skill in place yet? They don't have anything to fall back on right away.
My biggest thing, I would say, to plan and prepare, because if one has money so you can take care of your home and your household, at the end of the day, these bills keep coming in and like clockwork. They're not going to slow down just because you decided to quit your job. So if it was going to be like my backup plan years ago was, you know what, I'm going to save up $10,000 and then I'm going to see how this goes and I'm going to quit my job and do it. Unfortunately, circumstances didn't allow me to do that. But I had a support. Like I had my husband and he has our medical and things like that. So even if it is a slow drought, which sometimes there's months throughout the year where it gets slow for me, my husband's there to pick up the pieces, So the biggest thing is to plan. And then from a business standpoint, to figure out what you want to do before you actually quit your job, or at least down your hours to part-time, so that you can spend time if you're a coach, doing some free coaching and things like that, if you're a designer, taking on a few projects, because out of those 13 years, I figured out who I don't want to work with, and some processing. I knew where I was weak at and where my strengths were. So when I was redoing my business and my brand and really diving deep in things, that 13 years helped me figure out, okay, this is where I'm lacking, this is where I'm great at. Let me fix the things that I'm lacking at. So that would be my advice to people who don't know where to begin at all, but they know they don't want to stay in their job. Patience is key. Take your time, plan, and prepare.
Okay, good. That's good advice. Okay, so I just want to tell everyone that I went on your website, and I told you this. I went on your website, SiedahMitchumDesigns.com, and I just fell in love with your artistry, with your your eye for design, with how calming it was. And on top of that, you gave so much value. And I mentioned this to you. I went and got a notebook and I grabbed a cup of tea and I was like taking notes. You were talking about marketing and, branding, and I just really enjoyed how much value you had to give up front. A lot of times when people are kind of, selling themselves, they just, you'll go on their websites and they're like, buy this, click here. But I think that, you had a nice touch of giving away a lot of stuff before anything was ever mentioned that you had other products to sell. So I thought that was really cool. I would like for you to just tell us, who is your target market? What do you do on your website? And yeah, what kind of products are you working on, and projects and just everything about your design company?
Sure, definitely. So I help solo entrepreneurs and coaches struggle less in their business by developing a website and helping them develop a strategy plan so that they can attract, connect, and convert their audience. And what you can provide, what I provide on my website, like on my blog, my free resources, I'm just giving as many tips, as much knowledge I have in this head of mine to everyone. And I can actually sit there and say, honestly, since I did B School, Marie Forleo's B School, it is all about give value, give value, give value. And when I went through that, I really sat there and thought about what my foundation is, what my purpose is with my business, and what my messaging is. And I want to help people. I want to help you be more successful. I want to help you save time, save money. I know technology can be a headache for a lot of people. And so I want to give those people who don't have that much of a budget as much information as possible. And then, of course, when people work with me, I work with them individually and really tackle what's working on their website, what's not working on their website, and developing websites that actually work for them and not against them. So a few projects that I'm working on, one that you mentioned that you took was my free video training. It's called Discover How to Create an Authentic Website that builds credibility with your audience and that dramatically increases your sales. And I thought I did this 30-minute video training specifically because I wanted people to attract to their ideal audience like right away. The makes and breaks of like a responsive website, the key principles of good design. So when you're developing your own website, I wanted to give you all the key principles of that, the secrets behind what other professionals are doing that work on their website, and a few other tidbits and some exclusive offers. So for the future, I'm also working on another like really big course of like teaching you how to build your site. And doing exactly what I do with my clients every day, I'm going to show you through on-screen video. So that's something I'm working on, interviewing some entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs and coaches now to really add to this course I've been working on for so long. But between my newsletter and my blog, you can get so much value. And that's what I want. I want to help people. So plus you have to give a lot to get back. So I definitely believe that. So that's exactly why I'm so happy that when you went on my website, you felt that energy, that calming energy, and also it felt like, okay, she's here to help me. I'm not just, take my money. And that's exactly what I wanted my website to illustrate. So I'm happy about that too.
Absolutely. And, I was going to say, I follow a lot of people on social media, and they have this huge presence on social media, and they give value, as much as you can give, I guess, on social media. Mm-hmm. And they have, you go on their website, and the website does not speak to their brand at all. Either the website is outdated, or it looks like they had their 10-year-old nephew put it together, or they or they haven't posted anything in months. And so I'd like for you to just kind of tell us how important it is to have a relevant, beautiful website, and how that can impact your business.
Definitely. I think I agree with you. I think the biggest misconception is that I should put all this time and energy on social media. And I get in some ways it's right at your phone, so you can easily make updates and things like that. And people totally lose sight of, they totally forget about their website. But they have to understand that with social media, as instance Facebook, it changes all the time. It limits how many people, if you sit there and get all those followers, it limits how many people see your posts unless you're paying for ads or you're boosting your posts. They can change it tomorrow and the next day and another change. Your website stays the same. It works for you. It is there to work for you. And I like to think of your website as like your vehicle. You need all the important parts of it. It needs to keep up appearance, and it needs to work for you. It needs to be a machine for you. But you have to work it for it to go. So using social media to bring traffic to your website, using social media to bring people back to your landing pages on your site, so they can buy from you, so they can sign up for your email list. I like to think that, of course, it needs to be pretty. You know, it has to attract someone, but you have to put a lot of time. I know some websites that's not all that pretty. It's very simple and to the point, but their content is effective. They have great calls to action on their website. They bring all their traffic from social media to their website because it works. It really, really does. And you can't swipe on Facebook. You can't swipe on Instagram. So obviously, where you swipe at is on your website. So make sure that if you want people to pay, you know, that they're coming back to your site. And I think a lot of people kind of lose sight of that. Business owners specifically, I'm talking about, because if it's for personal, then that's personal. But for businesses, you really need to just bring all that traffic to your site, no matter what, because it's going to work for you. And it's yours. No one can change it. No one can tell you what to do with it. It is totally your baby. It's your vehicle or your online, like, hub spot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So utilize it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when I'm marketing myself on YouTube or social media, I'm always trying to get people to go back to the blog, because there's a lot more information there, and you know, we can engage, we can write each other, you know, you can book me for a consultation or for coaching. So I think it's important to kind of have people to come back to your home, quote unquote, you know?
Yeah.
So being an entrepreneur, can you give us kind of like a day in the life of a creative entrepreneur? What personal routine or professional routine do you have that you think is kind of paid off in your business? And in your life, what kind of consistencies have you had that you can say kind of translates to sales?
There's a few things that I do. I try to make a weekly task list. I have a 90-day plan, but I also do weekly task lists. And so I'm just checking off as I go. I know what I'm going to do today. I know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I know what I need to do within the next 15 days. And I do that so that I don't lose sight of what needs to be done, and I'm not all over the place. Because multitasking isn't necessarily always good. And another thing that's been keeping me so sane is yoga and meditation, even within breaks. So I was, before I got on this call with you, you know, working all day long, I had to stop and meditate, just sit in silence for a second, clear my head, and then I go into the next thing. And that has helped as far as, my mind and my health, because it's a huge, huge, huge thing for me for the past year, because I've had health issues. So keeping my stress level down and trying to be productive. I work best on schedules, so that's why I have so many plans, because I'm like, I hate the whole, you have to do this. No, stop. You have to do this. No, stop. You have to do that. Like, that drives me nuts. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how to track it or what goals. Everything is so much better in business when you actually have a plan. You know what your who, what, why is. Has helped tremendously in my business, of whether it's for projects or services or just consultations with clients or social media marketing. I try to plan out everything before it happens.
Awesome. It's good. It's good that you have a routine of things. And I kind of like to ask people that just to share because, when you're transitioning from a 9 to 5 where you're kind of told what to do and when to do it. And, you've got milestones and benchmarks that you have to complete during your day, that doesn't leave much autonomy for yourself. And so when you go into business for yourself, you've got to be the one to, kind of set your schedule and complete these benchmarks and milestones on your own. And so, just thank you for sharing that because it's a huge transition to go from not having that much independence to having all the time in the world and maybe you don't know what to do with it. So
yes, definitely.
And I'm glad that you do take some time to serve yourself and to meditate and, do yoga. I think that that's really important too. So
yes, the best way to keep it, like anything that you have to do, if you have to go for a walk, you have to stop and exercise, you just want to go do anything, your time, you deserve it. Mm-hmm. So that is definitely one thing that I have been doing that has been able to keep my stress level down because I know it's actually more stressful when I started owning my own business than when I was working for someone else because I wear so many hats in a one-woman shop. So I was just like, you know what can I do? So I was like, okay, well, I'll just stop, midday. Some people like to do it early in the morning, but midday is when my stress level goes up higher. And so I stopped. I was like, okay, let's just do a 30-minute, 40-minute session.
Very cool. Okay. Do you have any influencers? Is there anyone that you follow on social media or, someone that's kind of in your industry that, it has kind of been a distant mentor to you or, you kind of, maybe you model your business after them?
There's a lot of people that I follow for certain aspects of this marketing or blogging that has been really big hitters. Marie Forleo has been huge when it comes to marketing in my business. When it comes to sales, I follow Kendrick Shope. When it comes to blogging and psychology, I follow Derek Halpern from Social Trigger. And they have helped me as far as giving me all these great, amazing tips and golden nuggets for me to push forward with my business. But I think the main thing for me in my business and what fuels my fire is just really my family is my support system. Like they are the backbone. Anything that I'm doing, they're rooting me on. You need that. They'll stop and help me with certain administration things or financial things, in my business. They stop and they actually put a helping hand to help me. So there are some online influencers, but I think kudos goes to my family for all their love and support.
That's awesome. That's really awesome to recognize them for that as well. And then in terms of the industry that you're in, have you had any challenges being an African American woman in this industry?
Oh, definitely. There's definitely challenges. But I think the biggest thing when it comes to challenges for me, especially being an African American woman, I have strength and I want to overcome any obstacles or barriers because I think that we actually have challenges in all industries, to be honest, either as women and also as African American women. I think the biggest thing that I have learned for me to get through all the challenges and barriers that I've experienced over the years is to be confident in who I am and to value who I am. So, and what I mean by value who I am is just knowing my worth and knowing that it doesn't matter if you're on any level of class or any different demographic. I still know that I'm a great person inside. I have a lot to offer, and I can come to you, shake your hand, introduce myself, and let you know who I am and what I have to offer. And that's something, even as the years went on, I wish I could have told myself when I was younger, like, just be confident in exactly who you are, and portray that any step of the way. Another aspect is connection. Like, one thing I think that is challenging for African American women in our industry is that they're not putting themselves out there enough, and they're not building enough connections. There's so many people who come to me, like clients, who work for me specifically because I'm an African American woman who's a designer. They were looking for me. They're like, thank goodness you did this interview here, and thank goodness that you were on this website because I've been trying to find you. And there are people out there, business owners, entrepreneurs, nonprofits, looking for African American women or men out there in the industry. So we have to put ourselves out there. We have to network and connect with people. But definitely, that's what I would say as far as challenges, just an obstacle that can definitely overcome.
Thank you for sharing that. Good. If you could leave us with 3 tips for branding our business through design and through marketing, what would those three hacks be?
Oh, there's so many, but I think I'm going to pull from my blog that I just released today. Three tips out of the 5 that I proposed today was, 1, to have only 1, minimum 2 call to actions per page. It's just so confusing when you go to someone's website and they want you to do so much stuff. I want you to click here, do this, pay here, do that. Keep it simple. Keep it to the point. It just limits all the confusion and distraction. 2, I think the biggest part for your website is to test, see what's working. Use analytics. I use Lucky Orange, I use ClickD, I use Google Analytics to monitor my website so I see where people are clicking, where they're spending all their time. I want to know what works, and that's the biggest thing. A lot of people come to me, they want a website, or I want to redesign my website. So, okay, do you want to redesign your website, or it needs to be redesigned? So I really think that people need to monitor their site more. They know what's working for them, what's not, because you can change something that's actually working for you. That's huge. And then write compelling content and talk directly to the person. Use you, not we or I. People do that a lot in their content. Talk to one person. My biggest thing is I want to make it announced to the world that there is another person on the other side of the screen. Technology doesn't have to be so cold. I want to humanize it and bring awareness that it's so humanized, it's dehumanized as much as possible. Talk to the person. I'm here to help you, X, Y, Z. I'm here to provide this for you. You're having these problems, well, I can give you these results. Talk directly to the person. I mean, that's one thing that absolutely drives me nuts when there's like, it's all about me, or we are doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's so much more compelling when you go to someone's site and you feel that energy. It's so authentic. It's just like, I wrote my website content and I built my website specifically just for you because I want to help you do that. It definitely works.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for those tips. Those, like I said, when I've been to your website a couple of times, and every time I go, it's like a university degree that I'm studying or something, because you're giving away so much information. So, how can people book you and follow your journey and kind of get you to help them with their projects? You could give us your social media handles and your website. And I know that you have this beautiful eccentric name, so make sure you spell it for us, please.
Okay. So my contact information is, you can visit me at my website. at SiedahMitchumDesigns.com. You spell my name Siedah, S as in Sam, I-E, D as in David, A-H. You can contact me on Facebook at Siedah Mitchum or Siedah Mitchum Designs. At Siedah Mitchum or Siedah Mitchum Designs. I'm also on Instagram. There's another place that I love to connect with everyone, and that's at Siedah Mitchum Designs as well.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I hope that, this interview allows you to attract more clients and, to just spread your talents and your skills even more. And thank you so much for being generous with your time, because I know as an entrepreneur, you have so many projects you're working on and so many things to juggle. So thank you for carving out a little time for me today and for our listeners.
Thank you so much for having me. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. You're more than welcome. And I look forward to keeping in touch with you and working with you at some point. For my listeners, don't forget to go and visit my blog at goandglowproject.com. And if you haven't checked out Go and Glow TV, we're on YouTube at youtube.com/goandglowproject. Until the next time we talk, go and glow.